Hello friends, and thank you for hanging out with me today. Today I wanted to read a small story to you and tell you about one of my all-time favorite books. Maybe not what you would expect. And just some thoughts on the subject of the story, because it is something that, that really had an impact on me. And so I just wanted to share it and read it to you. Hopefully you enjoy it and find it as fulfilling as I do for a small story. So with that being said, let's get the show on the road. Here we go. So this video today is inspired by a friend of mine, and my friend has had a difficult time lately, just with some life circumstances and the like. And I'll be honest, I had no idea like what to film this entire week. I'm like, oh my God, it's already like Wednesday and then it's Thursday and I've got to make a video and I've got to get something up, and it's been a week and I've been kind of quiet because I've just been dealing with all sorts of other stuff. And I'm like, I need to do something. And then sure enough, out of a circumstance comes an idea. And it's kind of like the last video where with the monster and the whole thing. But anyway, this idea hit, and I'm like, I've been wanting to share this story actually on this channel for quite some time. And I just think this is a great time to do it. And so if you're out there and watching, you know who you are that inspired this. And I really hope it's a good thing to share. So the book that I'm going to read part of, I'm going to show you too, is called Zen Shorts by John J. Muth. And it's a kid's book. And, I spent many years every night reading to my kids before they just grew up and then they're like, books are dumb or whatever. But this one in particular was always my favorite. And I'm going to show you the cover because of just how totally charming this book is. And this panda right there, that is Stillwater, Stillwater the panda. And look at the back. I mean, it's like, this book is just gorgeous. And it's not like a really long read or anything like that. To give you an idea, just kind of what it's about, so it'll make sense in context, there's a panda, and his name is Stillwater, and he's a giant panda that ends up in the backyard of this house where these three kids are. And he lost his umbrella. There he is with the kids. He lost his umbrella and just kind of rolls into their life. And there's so many things about this book that I just absolutely love. I love the artwork. I love the stories. And basically each one of the kids has some kind of a problem with something, or something that they're struggling a little bit with. And Stillwater tells them a story, and that story has a little bit of wisdom in it. And from there, it's just learning about life, kind of. And that's why I think it's so fantastic. So I'm going to read something from the author's note in the back of the book. Zen Shorts are short meditations, ideas to puzzle over, tools which hone our ability to act with intuition. They have no goal, but they often challenge us to re-examine our habits, desires, concepts, and fears. That's really beautiful. Here we go. I'm going to read you a story from this, and the story is about letting go. And I'm going to snap some pictures too, and I'll try and like throw them up on the screen somewhere if I can do that. This one in particular is, the story's called A Heavy Load. Two traveling monks reached a town where there was a young woman waiting to step out of her sedan chair. The rains had made deep puddles, and she couldn't step across without spoiling her silken robes. She stood there, looking very cross and impatient. She was scolding her attendants. They had nowhere to place the packages they held for her, so they couldn't help her across the puddle. The younger monk noticed the woman, said nothing, and walked by. The older monk quickly picked her up, put her on his back, transported her across the water, and put her down on the other side. She didn't thank the older monk, she just shoved him out of the way and departed. As they continued on their way, the young monk was brooding and preoccupied. After several hours, unable to hold his silence, he spoke out. "That woman back there was very selfish and rude, but you picked her up on your back and carried her. Then she didn't even thank you." "I set the woman down hours ago," the old monk replied. "Why are you still carrying her?" So I absolutely love that story, and it's my favorite one. I tell people about it all the time. I talk to people about it all the time because it is really, it really makes you think about letting go and letting go of the things that are toxic, and letting go of the feelings and thoughts that tend to destroy you from the inside out. And I think our lives in a lot of ways are filled with these, and we just get so used to them. You know, we get used to feeling envy. We get used to feeling jealousy. We get used to feeling anger, and it just becomes part of just that's the way I am, you know, and that's my personality. But if you really stop and think, you can let go of those things, and you can learn to improve yourself in that way. There are people and situations that you know are bad for you and are toxic for you. And there are thoughts that you know are unhealthy thoughts. And if you really try and have a broad view, I'm going to go cosmological scale on you right now. If you have this broad view that you are only here for an incredibly short amount of time, then why are you holding on to these things? And why aren't you moving forward? And as much as something may happen to you that is painful and hurts you, you do have the capacity to find the things that bring you joy, and find the people and places and animals or whatever that bring you peace and a sense of connectedness, and focus on those. I really think this is just a matter of living your life with a good deal of gratitude. If you've ever commented on my channel, you know that I'm responding to every single comment because I can't help myself. And for very many of you, you'll see the words "I appreciate you" at the end of the comment. It's something that I write a lot because I always want to have that perspective of, you know, even though I may be having a really tough day or a tough time, I can still take a moment to accept and understand the fact that somebody reached out to me and said something that made me feel good and let me feel connected to the world in a way. And I do appreciate that, and I'm going to let you know that I appreciate that. The other element to this story that I find, or this book that I find so amazing, just look at him again. Just look at him. He's so happy with the umbrella and like the... Oh, okay. The other element to this story that I find so fascinating is how Stillwater just shows up. And just out of nowhere, he ends up in their backyard and in that person's life. And think about that for a second. During any moment of your day, you may run into somebody that has lived an entire life on their own, and you have no idea what that life was about. You don't know them. You don't know any of their friends or family or circumstances, anything they've been through or anything like that. But something brought them to you in that moment, and then you feel a kind of connection in a way of, you know, it's really neat when you think about it, that just two people and, you know, separate places in the universe colliding, and you never really know when that kind of a meeting is going to change your trajectory and change the way you're thinking about something. And I don't know about you, but I find myself to be really grateful for those connections when, you know, when I meet somebody for the first time and, you're like, wow, you have some cool stuff in common, or, you know, maybe they just say something that makes you think. Maybe it's a teacher that you had, or something like that. And it could be a brief thing, or it could be something that's a friendship to last a lifetime. You never really know. But those kinds of chance meetings are something that just brings a ton of joy to me, just to think about and muse on. That's it for today. Just a short video to hopefully make you think a little bit. I would like to know, just leave it in the comments. What are your thoughts on this kind of thing? What are your thoughts on letting go? And, not in a bad way. I'm not talking infj door slam. That's a whole nother video. But what are your thoughts on really, in a healthy way, trying to move yourself on from something and just accept that it happened, and, even if it may have been a bad experience, and find the strength to move forward? And where do you get your sources of strength from? Do you find strength in your cat or your dog, or in my case, a ball python, or your houseplants? So think about it and let me know. I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are on all this kind of stuff. These are just fun, broad questions to ask and have some interaction with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff and interact. Find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. I don't use those too often, but I'm hanging around there. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I will catch you on the next video. Thank you.